Hey guys, welcome to Barcelona United. Welcome to another video, and right now it's time to complete a series about the road to the best Barça. And the last point that I want to talk about in this short series, if any other points come across in the near future, I'll try to make another video, part 4, but for the time being I'm gonna finish up right now with part 3, which I believe needs to be the youth academy, La Masia. How we need to promote from within, how important it is to why do we do it, why do we use La Masia so much, or why should we use La Masia so much. And I want to get started by saying that it's not a thing about only using youngsters for the fact of using youngsters. Like when these people say that that I want to give opportunities to the youngsters so much, that we need players that can do it right now, that are ready right now. Well, that's the thing. Players that are ready right now, yes, that's fine, and you sometimes need signings like that. But when you have an opportunity that a player is showing good enough things that you can give them an opportunity, you don't go ahead and sign a player if you don't need to. You promote the player and you give them space. You're supposed to build your squad in the sense that you're making space to give opportunity to youngsters. Give opportunity to forwards, to midfielders, defenders, every season. That they are good enough to get promoted and play for the first team. Fine, you go ahead and promote them, that's great. That they are not giving good enough performances after a while and you give them real opportunities. Alright, then we can go ahead and try next. And if you need to sign, you go ahead and sign players if you need them, if it's crucial. But if you need to give opportunity to the youngsters and they don't work out, go ahead and work with the next one, with the next line of youngsters that are ready to step up into the first team. And the thing is that we haven't given opportunities, and I don't think people understand why it is that we use youngsters. We don't use youngsters so we can brag that we're using youngsters, that we're winning with players from the Masia. It's really nice. I really like that we're a team that's known kind of for that, but it's not the main reason why we do it. This era of the Messis, Busquets, Xavis, Iniestas, Pujols, that didn't used to be the case. Like we didn't just get it was amazing that we got generational talent from La Masia like that, but more importantly, you use La Masia to be able to plug gaps. Whenever you have a gap that you need to plug in, you use La Masia for that. For your bench, you should have mostly La Masia players. Mostly. Players that are not going to be playing a lot of minutes, but that whenever they need to be called upon, they can do a job for you. They don't have to be as good as the starters. They don't need to compete with the stars, because the idea is that your starters, if they're highly motivated, they don't need extra competition. It's like Jordi Alba. Jordi Alba really doesn't need extra competition. Messi doesn't need extra competition. They're players that are perfectly fine, that are at the max top of their level, and they don't need competition because they are already some of the best players in the position, with Messi respectively being the best player of all time. You use La Masia players, you use our youth players because they've grown here. They know what it means to play for the badge. And although they might not be as good as some other players that come from other countries and from other places, they're players that they're gonna give you 100%. They're gonna 100% want to succeed at the club. If a player like, for example, Dembélé doesn't succeed at Barcelona, he can go to another team. He can go to PSG. He can go to Liverpool. He can succeed somewhere else. But a player like Ricky Puig, a player like Aleñá, they are players that want to succeed at Barcelona, that will do the most that they can to succeed at this club, that have been taught our principles as a club, which is the very same as Ajax. We teach our youngsters very similar things in respect the coach, which is very important. That's why the most successful periods of Barcelona is being with groups of players that are being promoted from La Masia, because they are players that are willing to respect the coach, willing to follow the instructions that they're given, that they already know what they're playing at once they get promoted to the first team. They don't need time to adapt because they've been taught the same thing from time and time again. That's why Spain is probably Spain and Germany are the most successful international teams, because they have been taught what they need to play, what they need to play at. Because from the youth academies from Spain, all the Spain players basically play the same philosophy. Germany the same. So with this said, this is the reason that it is important to respect the La Masia. That it is important to use the youth players whenever you have the chance to use them. I'm gonna give you some examples, and there is plenty more that I could give you, but these are some of the examples that it shows you times where players either are given opportunities and people just have not trusted in them and think that they're crap, and other opportunities where there's been clear potential to be seen from these players, but the coaches just haven't given them a chance. And players like Munir and Sandro, Munir Haradi and Sandro Ramirez, where Luis Enrique in the 2014-2015 season, the year that we won a treble, they're players that we gave a lot of opportunities, or at least the most that we could. We had the MSN, Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. Then we had Pedro, and whenever we needed to plug gaps in the Copa del Rey, in some La Liga games, when we had Champions League games coming up, we had Munir and Sandro play. Did they perform well? For me, they did. They did enough to be alright. To have a team of starters and then they play, you could see that, okay, there's a difference in class, but in the way that we play, we're moving the ball at a good speed, we're still pressing the right way. So yes, they fit in. With the more games that they got, especially Sandro Ramirez, for me, he looked like a player that Luis Enrique really liked. Problem is that as soon as we could sign players, you go ahead and sign Paco Alcácer. That way, Sandro Ramirez and Munir don't have chances anymore to play. You go ahead and sign Denis Suarez, you go ahead and sign Andre Gomez, and that what does that make? That means Sergi Samper, that means Carles Aleñá don't have a place in the team, because you brought too many central midfielders, because you decided not to give them opportunities. Was the coach willing to give them opportunities? Well, it depends. A coach cannot give opportunities to youngsters if you already have 9 or 8 central midfielders. That is not something that they can do. Because maintaining the balance in the dressing room is really important. And for example, Oriol Busquets. I really like the signing of Ludovic Reis from Groningen. I think that he's a player that looks with a lot of potential. But Oriol Busquets at the same time also shows me a lot of potential. And the thing that I know is that he's homegrown. He's from here. And you decided to sign a player from away that you're going to probably give them a chance, but you're not willing to give a chance to Oriol Busquets? That doesn't make sense to me. Riqui Puig. This is for me the most blatantly example of this. You have an offer from PSG for 19 million euros. And you instead decide to keep Rakitic for Riqui Puig, and all you did was win La Liga. A La Liga that we would have probably won without even Rakitic. So you stopped Riqui Puig from playing 1 year in top tier football, from giving Arthur more minutes, from giving Arturo Vidal more minutes, and keep Rakitic to not promote Riqui Puig? You're not trusting in La Masia. Players like Eddie Garcia, Jordi Mbola, all these youngsters are leaving Barcelona before even being given a chance to debut, because they know that there's no space for them in the first team, because they are not going to trust in them eventually, so they leave. Eddie Garcia, Manchester City, he could have been our fourth center back. I like Todibo as much as anyone else, but maybe if Eddie Garcia was given a chance at Barcelona, maybe he could be like Todibo. I don't know that. Not saying that we should throw Todibo away, that's not what I'm saying, but give them opportunities. Jordi Mbola, who knows? Maybe you don't have to sign Dembélé when you have to sign him, or you don't sign Deulofeu. when they get signed that summer. Same case with Tello and Deulofeu. Tello had a really good season in 12-13 season, and Tata Martino goes ahead and doesn't play him at all. Doesn't give him a single opportunity to play. Plays like those trashy minutes that we're accustomed to. He plays even less than Malcolm did last season. Why? Because Alexis Sanchez has to play, because Neymar has to play, because Messi has to play, because Pedro has to play. Okay, yeah, that's fine. But where's the problem there? And this is not this just happens to be the case. But Neymar didn't have to be signed. You already have a forward line that does very well in Messi, Alexis, and Pedro. They were working fine. You have Christian Tello, who did pretty well going forward, and then you have Iniesta and Cesc Fabregas, who can also play in that forward line. But still, you go ahead and sign Neymar. What for? You went on to sign Neymar and win nothing after winning La Liga the season before that with Christian Tello. Deulofeu, a player that for me has massive potential in this, that maybe not as much as Riqui Puig, but has massive potential. Massive potential in the sense that he could become, maybe has potential close to the one of Ousmane Dembele. Because he's dribbling wise, I have to say, the kid is unbelievable. But he wasn't given a chance. He came back and didn't get to play even like regular minutes. We opted to go with a 4-3-1-2 with Paulinho in the hole instead of giving Deulofeu opportunities when Dembele get injured. Like, this is unbelievable. This cannot happen. Iñaki Peña, Valverde says that he likes him, and that's rare that we see Valverde like a youngster, so the youngster must be at least good or half decent. And you go ahead and sign Neto, who I think Neto's a good goalkeeper. But why don't you trust that for the backup minutes, just for some couple of rate games, give the youngster an opportunity. Give him an opportunity, get him to train with the first team, and then you would have saved 30 million euros. Alex Grimaldo, a player that we see at Benfica right now that is very, very good and that is coveted by a lot of teams in world football, and you go ahead and sign Lucas Digne. Bellerin, player that was the generational replacement to Dani Alves, and he's playing at Arsenal, God knows why, because you didn't want to give him a chance. Thiago, you bring in Fabregas, who, and this is a different thing, bringing back players that are from La Masia, that yes, in theory that is giving La Masia opportunities, but when you bring them for a role in the team that we either don't have or we don't need, and we didn't need Cesc Fabregas because we had Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets, and that was a perfect balance in midfield. You go ahead and give Thiago, a young Thiago, opportunities. So when Xavi eventually transitions out of the team, you're gonna have Thiago play a lot of minutes. What do you go ahead and do? You sell Thiago to Bayern, and you sign Fabregas, who didn't add anything to our midfield, was just a problem to be able to fit into the starting lineup, because sometimes he had to fit as a false 9, in the forward line, in the midfield, sometimes even as a pivot. So you have to do all this work for a player that you really didn't need or really didn't want. So this is a clear example of you're trusting in foreign players to do a job that the youngsters from La Masia could have perfectly done. Because playing the minutes that, that Malcolm played, Munir could have played those minutes. Deulofeu could have played those minutes. Playing the minutes that Denis Suarez, André Gomez, Paulinho played, I'm thinking Samper, Riqui Puig, Aleñá, they could have played those minutes. Instead of signing Todibo, you should have maybe kept Eric Garcia. Instead of signing Neymar, if you have a forward line that's already working well, don't touch it and just keep Tello. If he's having good numbers and good performances, keep giving Tello more opportunities. Grimaldo, you have a left back for the future and you go ahead and sign Lucas Digne. Why? So this is the reason that, and these are the examples of why we need La Masia and why it's not being used, or how is it not being used. Because there is being there's no this argument of we're not producing as good players anymore as we used to. Look at the list of players. These are all players that haven't been given proper opportunities, and there are players that potentially, at least in potential, and I can only talk by potential, because I don't know what's going to happen in the future. By potential, they should be good players, at least good players. And if you're at least a good player, you can stay in the Barcelona bench, at least. But with all this said and done, leave me your opinions in the comment section below. What do you think about La Masia? Do you think that we should give the youngsters opportunities? Leave me all your opinions in the comment section below. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time, Blaugranas.